Hello everyone, I'm back, your movie guru, with another review. I am very excited to bring to you this one. If you're anything like me, you will have heard about this one. You'll probably have seen some trailers for it, but you're not quite sure what to expect. And that's because I don't think the trailers do this film any type of justice. And I think that's a common theme that you'll see if you see a lot of critics' reviews. I'm talking about Shang and the Legend of the Ten Rings. It's got a whopping 92% positive rating score on Rotten Tomatoes for the critics and 99% currently by the audience. That is insane. Now, I tell you right off the bat, I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this film. The only reason why I didn't rate it higher is just because if you've seen enough Marvel movies at this point, there's a kind of an ebb and flow that you come to expect. And in just in that vein, it's very familiar. You know, I like, once you go to see certain films in a franchise, there's things you come to expect. And I like when you get those. But if it's too, much like the others, I like it if it's, it has a little bit more of a distinguishing factor. So I would like it if it was like, hey, yeah, I can tell this is a Marvel movie, but it still has a lot to distinguish it. I don't want to just get into a film and then feel like, okay, I know somewhat or pretty much how this is going to end up because this is a Marvel movie and all Marvel movies do this type of thing. But that said, this film, Simu Liu, correct me or forgive me if I butcher this, but I believe it's Simu Liu and Awkwafina really do a great job in this film. They have great chemistry together. First off, I like to talk about the acting because the acting really carries the film. You will be interested in seeing them on screen and what happens to them. They're very relatable characters, and you really grow to care for them on screen. And this film has some of the, I don't know if I'd say the best, but definitely some of the better fighting sequences that I've seen in the Marvel films. Really reminds me of an older film, Hidden Tiger, Crouching Dragon, I believe was the name of it. Always butchered, might be Hidden Dragon, Crouching Tiger. But this it really reminded me a lot of that as far as the fighting sequences, but I thought they did a great job of, it's not just this conventional, hey, here's a bunch of CGI, or, we're going to add all these elements, to make it look cool. It reminded me a lot of the Jackie Chan films in that, they're actually fighting. The people, the characters they have on screen, they actually know how to fight. It reminds me a lot of, if you looked on the internet, there were videos popping up of Keanu Reeves and when he was training for the John Wick movies. And you can see that, okay, he actually knows how to shoot. He actually knows how to hit a target. And that type of real world knowledge shows through on screen. And when you can see these characters fight, it shows through on screen that these people actually, were trained in hand-to-hand combat. And I think that makes the fight scene so much better. So I really enjoyed that part. And then just going outside of this, what Marvel is doing with this phase as a whole, if you've seen my videos, you'll know that I talked about one of the things I really enjoyed about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is I think it's one of the most ambitious things ever done in film, where, you've had franchises before, you've had, films with a bunch of sequels, the James Bond films, Harry Potter films, you've had those films with a bunch of movies in the franchise. But to have a universe where you're going to have so many standalone films, and then they're all going to weave into this connected plot with the same characters, and then end up in this narrative at the end, and it's all got to fit together, and so many things that could lead to disaster along the way, actors quitting, losing the rights to movies, real world conflicts, and then just movies not performing well, underselling, all of that. And to do that and then across, over a decade is really impressive. And believe it or not, with these films, Marvel in this phase, they're actually upping the ante. So if you've been keeping up with Marvel films, you know that they're doing TV series now. So you've got Loki and WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it's, hey, not only, like before where we had all these movies, you've got to watch these to totally understand what happens, as we grow further and further. Well, now you've got to watch these TV shows as well. And that's going to weave into this connected fabric that we're building. And it really feels to me, if you ever read, comic books and, growing up reading comic books and being in that world, there are so many things going on. And that's what it feels like. If you watch the TV shows, if you've seen Black Widow and some of the other films that they're making in phase 4, and it's like, this is going on over here, and then this is going on in this series, this is going on in this movie. How are they going to bring this all together and it's going to make sense? And so many things are going on. And with this film, like I say, it's definitely got that familiar Marvel vibe. You'll recognize that. And some elements, like you'll understand that, okay, this is a Marvel movie. But it definitely does have its own weave and some elements that are unique that I would say to Shang-Chi, and that you'll know that you will be able to remember, 10 years from now, when you're thinking about Marvel films, you'll be like, oh, Shang-Chi, yeah, that was the one with this. And like I said, it is very familiar as a Marvel movie, but I really enjoyed it that when I saw some of the elements that they were introducing, and the origin story, and it has 2 end credit scenes, so you go and see in theaters. Make sure you stay for the 2 post credit scenes. But what it introduces there, you're like, wow, this world is getting, you're not just thinking about Shang-Chi, but you're thinking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. And you're thinking, wow, this world that they're building is really, really getting big. And, it's very exciting. It makes you want to see more, and then it makes you really interested in where this universe is going. And I think this film does really well as a standalone film. Like, it absolutely can fit as its own movie. And, even if you didn't know anything about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you could watch this movie and say, hey, I was really entertained by that. I like the plot of that. Obviously they have some of the larger Marvel elements I didn't understand, but I really enjoyed that. And I think this is the perfect film to go and see on a weekend, Labor Day weekend. Definitely something that, to me, this is something that you go out to the movies for. This is a film that it's like, okay, no, I don't want to see that on the small screen. I don't want to see that sitting at home. When I go to the theater, this is a film that's going to give me that theater experience. You will remember the fight scenes. You will remember the chemistry between the actors, and it's just entertaining. That's what I have to say about it. You will not come out of this movie thinking that, okay, that was boring, or oh, I was sitting there looking at my watch the whole time. Like, it definitely weaves a tale, gets you into it, and it's not 100% conventional. It does have its own unique elements. So 7.5 out of 10. That's my initial rating. I just saw it. This is one of those films I bet if I see it again or come back later and think about it again, it might even be, I might have to up the rating on this one. It might end up being an 8 or maybe even an 8.5. I'm fresh off emotion right now, but I can tell you I really enjoyed it. I really think that you'll enjoy it too. There's a reason it's got such high scores, positive ratings on Rotten Tomatoes right now. But that's what I got for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Please continue to support and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.